Some wooden structures seem to last forever. In Japan, a temple has stood for over 1,400 years. Viking ships once withstood the harshest storms. And all across Europe, you can find wooden houses that have survived for several centuries. But modern wood, it often doesn't even make it 10 years before it rots, cracks, or molds. Why? What did our ancestors know about wood that we've completely forgotten today? Why did their wood last a human lifetime, sometimes several, while ours barely survives a decade? The surprising answer has nothing to do with modern chemistry or high-tech solutions. It lies in three ancient natural materials that have been used for thousands of years and together create wood that repels water, resists fungi, keeps insects away, and endures for decades. In this video, we're bringing this lost knowledge back, and I'll show you a recipe that will make your wood last longer than you ever thought possible. The modern problem. When we buy a new piece of wood today, it looks perfect at first glance, bright, clean, straight. But that very perfection is part of the problem. Modern wood doesn't rot faster by accident. It's the result of a system we ourselves have created. In the past, people mainly used heartwood, the inner, darker part of the tree. This wood is naturally denser, harder, and full of organic protective compounds that make it resistant to fungi, insects, and moisture. Heartwood is what centuries-old beams, ships, and historic buildings were made from. It's the wood that lasts. Today, however, most of the wood in our stores is sapwood, the outer, younger part of the tree. Sapwood is light, soft, and full of nutrients, perfect for fungi and insects, but poor in durability. It contains very few natural protective compounds and absorbs water much faster. Why is this happening? A look at modern forestry explains a lot. Trees are harvested much faster today, often after just a few decades. They grow in monocultures in tight rows, with the goal of quantity over quality. A fast-growing tree naturally produces more sapwood and less heartwood. The result: wood that is cheap but lacks resistance. To mask this problem, the industry relies on pressure treatment. Wood is injected under high pressure with chemical solutions, usually copper-based. This offers short-term protection, but creates new problems. Copper can corrode metal fasteners like screws or nails. The treatment often doesn't penetrate deeply, especially not the end grain. And after a few years, the wood begins to rot anyway. Furthermore, the protection can wash out over time, especially under sun and rain. So, the problem with modern wood isn't accidental. It's a systemic issue, and that's exactly why we need to return to methods that actually work. A historical look back. While modern wood often rots after just a few years, earlier cultures knew how to make wood truly durable. They didn't have the chemical industry we rely on today, and yet their structures have lasted centuries, sometimes even millennia. These methods have worked for hundreds of years, and that's exactly why it's worth looking back. Let's start with the Vikings. These seafarers needed wood that could withstand the harsh conditions of the North Atlantic. Their solution: pine tar. This thick, dark resin was produced industrially by distilling resin from pine stumps and roots. They coated their longships, beams, and planks with it. The tar was not only water repellent, but also antiseptic. Fungi and insects didn't stand a chance. The Vikings demonstrated that wood preservation is a combination of material and technique, and that natural resources can be used strategically. Next, we travel to Japan, home of the Horyuji Temple, which is over 1,400 years old. Here, builders used a technique called yakisugi, also known as shosugi-ban. The surface of the wood is carefully charred, creating a carbon layer that makes the wood water-resistant, insect-resistant, and even fire-retardant. Afterwards, the wood was oiled to enhance protection. This method shows how simple, natural techniques can dramatically extend the lifespan of wood. Finally, Europe, especially during the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. The key here was a combination of boiled linseed oil and beeswax. The linseed oil penetrated deeply into the wood fibers and hardened, protecting the wood from the inside. Beeswax formed a water-repellent surface. Together, these materials created a flexible, long-lasting protective layer that proved its effectiveness over centuries. Looking at these three examples, Vikings, Japan, and Europe, it becomes clear: ancient methods work. They show that nature itself often provides the best solutions, and that sustainable, durable woodworking is not a modern invention, but thousands of years of knowledge that we can rediscover today. The three key ingredients. When it comes to protecting wood, there are three natural materials that have formed the foundation of durable constructions for centuries: pine tar, boiled linseed oil, and beeswax. Each has its own function, but together they work like an unbeatable team. First, pine tar. This thick, dark resin comes from pine trees and has been used as a wood preservative since the Viking era. Pine tar is antiseptic. It keeps fungi, mold, and insects away, and hydrophobic, meaning it repels water. When applied to wood, it forms a natural protective barrier that prevents moisture from penetrating and rotting the material from within. Pine tar is the first line of defense, the shield against everything that could attack wood. Next is boiled linseed oil. It penetrates deeply into the wood fibers and hardens there. Through this process, called polymerization, the wood is protected from the inside. It becomes stronger, more flexible, and more resistant to mechanical stress. While pine tar protects the surface, boiled linseed oil works within the wood, reinforcing its structure at a fundamental level. It's like the skeleton of a building, invisible but crucial for stability and longevity. Finally, beeswax. This natural wax is applied to the surface, creating a water-repellent film. It closes the pores, seals the wood against rain, and provides a smooth, pleasant texture. Beeswax is the finishing touch that completes the interaction of the other two ingredients. Why do these three ingredients work so well together? Pine tar protects from the outside, boiled linseed oil strengthens from within, and beeswax seals the surface, adding an extra barrier. Together, they create a multi-layered, synergistic system that shields wood from moisture, fungi, insects, and UV radiation. Without chemicals, using only natural materials. This combination is the secret behind centuries-old wood durability, and the reason traditional methods still work today. The science behind it. Wood is a fascinating but also vulnerable material. On a microscopic level, it consists of a network of hollow cells and fibers that function like tiny tubes. These pores make wood lightweight and strong, but they also make it susceptible. Water can penetrate, fungi can grow, and insects can find food. This is exactly where the problem with modern wood applications begins. The traditional mixture of pine tar, boiled linseed oil, and beeswax works on multiple levels at once. The liquid boiled linseed oil penetrates deeply into the pores and hollow cells. There, it hardens inside, alters the structure of the wood fibers, and makes them flexible, stable, and resilient. Pine tar coats the fibers, preventing water and fungi from getting a foothold. Finally, beeswax forms a dense, hydrophobic surface, providing additional protection against moisture. The result is a multi-layered defense that works both inside and out, just as our ancestors did centuries ago. In contrast, many modern coatings only protect the surface. Paints, stains, or pressure treatments often do not penetrate deeply. A scratch, a cut, or years of rain can compromise the wood because the interior remains vulnerable. Chemical preservatives may provide short-term protection, but they rarely offer the long-term, natural resilience of an integrated system. Additionally, the traditional mixture provides other benefits. UV rays are partially absorbed by the dark color of pine tar, preventing the wood from fading or becoming brittle too quickly. Water is reliably repelled, and fungi and insects find no food. Altogether, this creates a sustainable, natural protective layer that preserves both the beauty and feel of the wood. Science shows that it's not just the material itself that makes wood durable, but how the components work together, penetrate deeply, and build a flexible, resilient structure. This is why these methods have worked for centuries and are often superior to modern chemical solutions. Recipe and mixing ratios. After explaining the benefits of pine tar, boiled linseed oil, and beeswax, it's time for a recipe and mixing ratio. The recipe is simple, effective, and based on an old, proven formula: 1 part pine tar, 1 part boiled linseed oil, and 1 part turpentine. This forms the liquid base into which the beeswax is incorporated. For the beeswax, a ratio of 1 part wax to 3 to 4 parts liquid is recommended, depending on how thick you want the mixture to be. Before starting, safety precautions are essential. All 3 liquid components are highly flammable, especially turpentine and boiled linseed oil. Never work near an open flame and ensure adequate ventilation. Gloves protect your skin, and safety goggles should be worn to prevent splashes from reaching your eyes. Safety comes first. These materials are powerful, but only when handled responsibly. Begin mixing by placing the pine tar into a clean glass container, followed by an equal amount of boiled linseed oil. Then add the same amount of turpentine. Stir thoroughly until you achieve a homogeneous, thick liquid. Next, grate or chop the beeswax into small pieces and carefully mix it into the liquid. Patience is key. The wax must fully dissolve, either by slow stirring or using a water bath. Never over direct heat to avoid fire hazards. The result is a dark brown aromatic mixture that penetrates deeply into the wood while also forming a protective surface. With this recipe, you achieve the perfect balance of deep penetration, internal hardening, and water-repellent sealing. It is an old, proven formula that has stood the test of centuries, protecting wood in a way that modern chemicals often struggle to achieve. Practical application. Once the recipe and mixing ratios are ready, it's time for the practical application on wood. The first step is to heat the mixture to make it more fluid and easier to penetrate the wood. A water bath is ideal for this. Place the glass container with the mixture in a pot of hot water, never directly on a flame, to avoid fire hazards. Stir carefully until the beeswax is fully melted and the mixture is homogeneous. The slightly warmed mixture is much easier to apply and penetrates deeper into the wood pores. For application, you can use a brush or a clean cloth. Many prefer a cloth because it rubs the mixture into the wood and gently opens the fibers. Apply the mixture in circular motions, especially along the grain, and pay careful attention to the end grain, the exposed ends of the wood. These pores absorb the most liquid and are often the weak points where water can penetrate. After application, patience is key. Let each layer dry for several hours so the oil can polymerize and harden the wood from the inside. Depending on the project, 2 to 4 layers can be applied. Between layers, wipe off any excess with a clean cloth to avoid a sticky finish. There are a few common mistakes to avoid. Applying too thick a layer can leave the surface sticky and cause uneven curing. Not wiping off the excess can result in irregular drying and peeling. Always use true boiled linseed oil, not raw oil from a hardware store. Raw oil can take months to dry or may never fully cure. With careful work, even layers, and thorough wiping, you achieve a durable, water-repellent, and beautifully glossy wood finish. These steps demonstrate that technique is just as important as the ingredients themselves. When applied properly, the wood is not only protected, but also aesthetically pleasing and long-lasting. The transformation. To truly illustrate the difference between untreated and traditionally treated wood, let's look at a simple example board. Before treatment, the wood appears pale and almost lifeless. The grain is barely visible, the surface dry and brittle. It feels rough, absorbs moisture easily, and smells neutral, nothing special. Water soaks in immediately, and within minutes, dark spots form that slowly dry again. This is the problem with modern, untreated wood. Now, the transformation. After applying the recipe and mixture, the wood changes on multiple levels simultaneously. The color becomes deep and warm, a rich honey brown with subtle smoky undertones from the pine tar. The grain stands out vividly, appearing three-dimensional and lively. The aroma is pleasant and slightly resinous, reminiscent of traditional craftsmanship. The texture becomes soft and silky. The surface feels warm and organic, not artificially shiny. It's not varnish or a plastic layer. It highlights the natural beauty of the wood. Particularly impressive is the water repellency. A few drops of water on the untreated board soak in immediately. On the treated board, water beads up into small spherical droplets and rolls right off. The wood stays dry and protected, an instant, visible proof of the mixture's effectiveness. It's important to note, this transformation emphasizes not only protection, but also aesthetics. Unlike modern varnishes, which coat the wood, this method allows the natural grain and texture to breathe, giving it a timeless beauty. The board looks lively, authentic, and craftsmanship rich. This transformation demonstrates that, with the right technique and materials, even simple wood can be durably protected and visually enhanced. It's the perfect proof that traditional methods can often surpass modern chemical solutions. The long-term test. When it comes to wood durability, the difference between modern and traditional methods becomes particularly clear. Imagine 3 scenarios. An untreated piece of wood, a modern pressure-treated piece, and a piece treated with the traditional mixture of pine tar, boiled linseed oil, and beeswax. Untreated wood is the natural starting point. It absorbs water, fungi, and insects find food easily, and even the grain can swell and crack from repeated moisture exposure. Within just a few years, the wood begins to show visible decay, a reminder of how vulnerable this material is without protection. Pressure-treated wood was designed to address these problems. Chemical agents, often copper-based, aim to repel fungi and moisture. Initially, the wood seems resistant, but the treatment has limits. End grain and cut surfaces still absorb water, and small scratches or cracks give fungi and bacteria entry points. Additionally, the chemical treatment can attack metal fasteners, causing screws or nails to rust and compromising the wood's stability. In practice, the protection is often superficial and rarely lasts for decades. The traditional mixture, on the other hand, works holistically. Pine tar protects antiseptically and repels water. Boiled linseed oil hardens deep within the wood, and beeswax seals the surface. Together, these three components create a multi-layered system that repels water, inhibits fungi, and strengthens the wood's structure. Wood treated this way retains its stability and beauty for decades, without toxic chemicals or artificial coatings. In short, taking the time to understand and apply these ancient techniques results in wood that is durable, resilient, and aesthetically pleasing. It clearly demonstrates that natural methods can outperform modern solutions. Knowledge tested over centuries and still relevant today. In this video, we've seen how modern wood techniques often fail, while ancient methods can protect wood for centuries. We learned why today's wood decays so quickly, how our ancestors solved problems like rot, insect damage, and moisture, and which three natural ingredients, pine tar, boiled linseed oil, and beeswax, work together to provide deep, lasting protection. We presented the recipe and mixing ratios, explained how to properly combine, heat, and apply the mixture, and went through the step-by-step process, from treating the end grain to applying multiple thin layers that must dry and cure. We also highlighted common mistakes, like applying too thickly, using the wrong oil, or not wiping off excess, which can all affect the final result. The before and after comparison showed just how impressive this method is. The wood becomes deep, warm, and vibrant. The grain stands out, water beads up, and the wood stays protected without any artificial coating. The natural beauty of the wood is emphasized rather than hidden, and its structure is strengthened from within. Even without a real-time long-term test, centuries of traditional use prove that wood treated this way lasts far longer than untreated or modern chemically treated wood. It's a system that is functional, safe, aesthetically pleasing, and proven across generations. If there's one thing to take away from this video, it's this. With simple natural materials, you can protect and enhance wood for the long term, just like the masters of the past did. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about traditional craftsmanship, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Share your experiences or questions in the comments. We'd love to hear if you've treated wood this way yourself, or what projects you plan to protect. Wood can last forever. You just need to know how. Start building, protecting, and enjoying the beauty that only nature and tradition together can create.